Hello everyone, welcome back to Lucky63 where I'll be giving you my tips for day 5 of Royal Ascot, which has been a very good meeting for us so far. We've had 3 good money making days. Yesterday wasn't so good, but we were back on form today with 3 places and a winner. If you're brand new to the channel, what I normally do is Lucky15 bet, sometimes each way, sometimes outright. We do it most days for daily horse racing, but for Royal Ascot we've made an exception because it's 6 races every day and we've done an each way Lucky63 covering all 6 races, giving us our tips for the big meeting at Ascot. And we've had, like I said, 3 good days and we're hopefully going to make it another good day tomorrow. I'm just going to review on today's selections. The first race, Ertiad, was nowhere to be seen, if I'm fair, but you can argue that these horses running at Royal Ascot in this kind of race over a very competitive kind of atmosphere is quite tricky for a lot of these young horses, especially with the draw, the pace. So you can kind of put a line through that form, and he could be quite good for future races. So we can forgive him that performance there. But in the second race, however, we were off the mark with Crystal Ocean, which was the market favourite. Ran not a bad race, back in third place, but Permian, fair play to the old battle horse. It battled really well after a disappointing derby, and a lot of people were saying that he might have found the derby a bit too much and maybe not quite ready for this race. He needed a bit more of a break, but he ran really well today. No evidence to suggest that the derby took anything out of him, but our horse, Crystal Ocean, came third, had every chance towards the last furlong or so, but just couldn't quite get home for us. So that was the first place we had there. Then we moved on to the big race of the day between Caravaggio, Harry Angel and Blue Point. We backed Blue Point because I thought, even though it was a 3-horse race on paper, this horse was definitely the value in the race if there had to be any value with the each way angle which we've been doing. And he finished third, but he had every chance on the last furlong, really. Caravaggio, though, great performance from him today, great turn of foot. He was held up quite a lot of the race by Ryan Moore, but he brought him home where it mattered and he came storming through, beating Harry Angel, which did put in a good performance. And at one point it looked like it was going to be between the 2 Godolphin runners, but Caravaggio showed his class today and he came home to win that race. So we got the each way back there. But in the next race we went for the French horse, and it was quite tricky really to pick out a contender to finish possibly second to Winter, because Winter was always going to win that race really on paper. But it was Aidan O'Brien 1, 2 and 3, the same form that finished in the Irish Guineas there, so that might still show some strength to it. It was Roly Poly who came second and Hydrangea in third. That was a very good performance by both of those horses, putting in a good performance against some other good horses. We went for the French Raider, which won the French Derby. That wasn't a great performance in the end. It showed promise early on, but I think maybe the ground was a little bit too quick for it. That was a bit of a gamble there, because I wanted to, even though Winter was very short and was probably going to win, I wanted to find possibly the each way value in the race, and obviously that didn't kind of happen in the end. So that was the other disappointment we had today at Ascot. But the last 2 races were good positives for us. We backed Stradivarius, Andrea Zaney and John Gosden, and that won for us at a good price at 10-1. I think it won at something like 11-2 in the end, so we backed it at a good early price. And that was definitely a market mover. I remember seeing throughout today a lot of money on that horse, so that was a good selection there. And then we had Top Tug in the last, the Alan King horse, who proved that Alan King likes these kind of long handicap races on the flat over 2 miles. To be fair, Top Tug had every chance towards the last couple of furlongs and ran on well to finish 4th. He was always going to be in the places, you could tell from that performance. And he came home for us there at 12-1 with Pat Smullen aboard. So all in all, that wasn't bad. So we had a win in 3 places, making it another profitable day. We were a few folding notes of money up, so that wasn't too bad there. And again, that's a good day at Royal Ascot, but I'm going to be giving you my tips for tomorrow. Sorry about the technical stuff on here. If you think I'm absolutely rubbish if you're watching this for the first time, I'm looking to be a horse racing journalist. I'm going back to university in September to study a course in sports broadcasting journalism, a master's degree, and I'm hoping to be a horse racing journalist. It's my absolute dream job, and this is why I do this. I just do lots of vlogs because I absolutely love doing it, even though most of the time I'm absolutely rubbish, but I'm no worse than a lot of other tipsters out there. So I'm going to be going for day 5 of Royal Ascot tomorrow with another each way Lucky63, and the first race that we're going to tomorrow is the 2:30 in the Chesham Stakes, and we've backed the Queen's horse here, who hasn't had a winner yet at Royal Ascot this year. She hasn't had a winner actually since 2013 with Estimate, but I think she could potentially have a winner here, or a horse that could at least give her a decent race, and the horse that we've gone for here is Learn by Heart, which is William Haggis trained and will be ridden by Daniel Tudhope, who's been in very good form of late. If you actually look at the £1 stake minimum bet to what Daniel Tudhope rides, you would be up quite a bit. I think he was at least like plus 40 or something about a week or so ago for his rides. He's been riding some good winners for David O'Meara and a few other good stables as well, so that's a very good jockey booking. This horse finished 3rd on its first run at a racetrack at Haydock, where it ran on very well. It was a bit of a head case, if I'm honest, to start with. It wouldn't settle, but in the end it did start to settle, and it ran on well to finish in 3rd place. It's going up in trip tomorrow from 6 to 7 furlongs. That would definitely help it in its pedigree, because it is an offspring of Frankel, and I've noticed as well that Frankel's offspring this season, Maury, springs to mind, where she finished 5th on her first run on a racetrack, and then she went on to back-to-back wins and then finished 2nd at Royal Ascot, so she's improved there. We also had a horse tonight called Weekender at Newmarket, which was about its 3rd or 4th run, and that was an offspring of Frankel. So I have noticed that Frankel's offspring have been running better after a first run out, so that could be definitely a positive to take into consideration there. Currently 16 to 1 bookmakers at the moment, and I definitely think this horse could definitely be in the frame tomorrow, and I definitely thought that was worth a good punt there. Our second selection is in the Wolverton Handicap in the 305, and this to me, there is a favourite currently at 4 to 1 at the moment, and that's who we're going for, because I think it's very good horse who's not exposed yet, still unexposed. It's called Khariat, which is trained by Sir Michael Stout and will be ridden by Jim Crowley. Now this horse won very well at Chester in the Chester Festival back in May. Chester form, I think, is very strong at the moment. A lot of some of the big race wins have come from Chester, where the horses ran well, so that form is definitely looking good if you like your Chester form, because it's been proven to show some good, strong horse racing performances after the runners have been at Chester. But this horse is 4 to 1 bookmakers at the moment. It won 4.5 lengths last time out at Chester, but it's been whacked up by the handicapper, £13. But this horse is kind of a progressive horse. It'll like the trip, it'll like the ground, and currently 4 to 1 bookmakers at the moment. I definitely thought that was a good selection there in the second race. Our third selection tomorrow sees us go to the Hardwick Stakes in the 340. And the horse we've backed here is another of the Queen's runners called Dartmouth, which won well at York on its seasonal reappearance. Dartmouth, you could argue, might not like the ground tomorrow. A lot of people have been saying that it might be a bit too hard for him to run on, but I disagree. If you actually look back on some of his form, he has run over this kind of ground before and done okay, so that's not too off-putting for me. He's currently 9 to 4. I got him out of bookmakers, but he is a bit shorter out there with a few others, so if you can find him at that kind of price, I definitely would take that price now, because I definitely think it could shorten in the market tomorrow. But yeah, this horse is open to even further improvement, and it won this race last year as well. And even if the ground did get a little bit wet, there could be the possibility of an odd shower in the morning tomorrow at Ascot. That would at least aid its cause even more, and that could make the price shorten on this horse. So I'd definitely take it now while it's about 9 to 4 bookmakers, which I've got it at Sky Bet if you're looking for that price on that horse. It's trained by Sir Michael Stout, and it will be ridden by Ryan Moore. Hopefully it'll be 2 out of 2 for the Queen tomorrow, with our first one coming in. And yeah, I definitely think this horse will run a good race tomorrow. Our fourth selection now sees us go to the Diamond Jubilee Stakes, which, if you might have heard me on William Hill Racing Radio earlier, I gave them an email in to see what they thought of my possible selection, which was Tasleet. Now I've gone back and had a look at this race again, and actually I was trying to find maybe a bit more value, because I've seen a lot of money going on this horse, and I'm just it just put me off a little bit having a second glance. The horse I've actually gone for is actually a French horse called Jasi for Francois Rehort and Gregory Beniste, who's already had a winner here on Royal Ascot Festival. I think it might have been on the Wednesday. I can't remember the horse now, but it was a good performance that day by this jockey. So he's already got a little bit of confidence going from his win for Royal Ascot. French horses as well have been running not too badly at Ascot as well, so that's definitely to consider. But this horse is in a good draw tomorrow, and it won on its seasonal reappearance in a French listed race, which has subsequently not been in too bad form. It also will like the ground and the trip as well. Also as well, last year it came over for the Goodwood Festival at Glorious Goodwood, and it won a race there at 12-1, putting in a good performance. So it's no stranger to these kind of festivals and turning up and putting a good run. It's normally generally, if you look at its statistics and records, needed its first run out, but to show that it ran well in its seasonal reappearance, definitely thinks there's more room for improvement over this campaign. And I definitely think at 33-1 I got it at, which is an enormous price, I think should be in the frame tomorrow and could run a good race. It's got a good draw against the stand side, where I would say overall more runners have been running against the stand side, and if there's a good pace on, I definitely think this horse could come through and be towards the business end of the race. So that was our selection there, Jasi. Let us know in the comments box below if you have any other big outside picks in that race tomorrow. There's quite a few good horses running in that race. A few of the bookmakers as well paying out quite a lot of places. So I would look at that if you're doing each way Lucky63 or Lucky31 or Lucky63 bet tomorrow, because that definitely can help you there if you're going down that route. Our fifth selection tomorrow will see us go to the Wokingham Stakes in the 5 o'clock, and we've gone for a bit more of another long shot here. We've gone for Certificate for Roger Varian. David Egan aboard here. It is one of the top weight horses in the race, but he will be able to use the jockey, his £5 claim. He's actually the son of professional jockey Johnny Egan. Now David has been a good young rider this season, riding pretty well among the apprentices, one of the top ones you can get around. Also as well, this horse is a good performer. It's dropping back first time to run tomorrow over 6 furlongs for the first time, but it had been a 7 furlong horse previously. I kind of like it sometimes when a horse drops back in trip. And this horse last year ran some good races. It generally needed its first time out run, and after that it ran some good races last year. It won a good race at Doncaster and Goodwood last year that were listed races, so that was a good performances there. Also as well, this horse tomorrow is drawn next against a Roger Fell horse called Mutatadab or something of that pronunciation. I can't exactly pronounce it. I can't always pronounce these Arabic names. I find them a little bit tricky to pronounce. But that horse tomorrow is a front running horse, and it's been running fairly well of late, but sometimes it's just been headed towards the end, and I definitely think Certificate here could possibly get a breakthrough, and he could possibly, if there's a strong pace down the stand side where they're both drawn tomorrow, he could come through towards the last furlong and possibly be in the business end of the race. So 18-1 with bookmakers at the moment. I definitely thought that was a fair price and an interesting runner as well, dropping back to 6 furlongs. So that's who we're going for there as our fifth selection in the Wokingham. Our last selection tomorrow runs in the 5:35 in the Queen Alexandra Stakes. Horse we've gone for here is a horse called Qewy for Charlie Appleby and William Buick, who's had a fantastic Royal Ascot. Godolphin have had some good performances. This race is a very long race, over 2 miles and 5 furlongs. Now this horse is making its seasonal reappearance since November, last time we saw it, which was running in Australia, where it put in some good performances. It's 6-1 bookmakers at the moment in quite a tricky and sticky race, if I'm perfectly honest. You've got Thomas Hobson, who's been riding very well at this meeting, had a previous winner in another race for Willie Mullins. It's running tomorrow to try and get a double, and that's definitely the horse to beat. But I definitely think he might find it a bit of a struggle to run 2 long races in a week. Anyway, if you enjoy our video, subscribe to us here at LuckyLoads15. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook at LuckyLoads15. Leave your comments in the comments box below who you think might run a good race tomorrow. Also, gamble responsibly as well, and subscribe to us.